Emil Cadlick here with FantasyNation.com. We have a very special pioneer of fantasy sports today who has been playing in high-stakes fantasy football for 15 years and has won $250,000. That is just crazy. She also had a website for several years. We'll talk about that. She now works for Fantasy Points, and she also worked for a very special director for 25 years. I'm very honored to introduce Jules McLean. How are you today?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here.
Well, congratulations on being a pioneer of fantasy sports.
Thank you. It kind of ages me, but, I'll take it. When we get old, we'll take the accolades.
Yeah, so maybe we ought to start out at the beginning. Like when you were young, did you like sports then?
Oh, yeah. Listen, I love sports. My dad introduced me to baseball. My mom introduced me to football. She dated an executive of the Chiefs, so he would always send these football books. And I remember specifically there was this kind of notebook type thing that was like NFL playbook. I've since bought it like used, but it had all like the basic formations and the, objective of the game and everything. Because, my mom had to get up on the game, but she was going to be with this guy. So I just love football. I'd watch it on TV. I had a poster. You remember the Dallas Doomsday defense with, Ed Too Tall Jones?
Mm-hmm.
And I had a poster of them up in my room.
Wow.
It had like a tombstone of it said like Philly on it or something. And on that, I thought that was great because I liked horror movies too as a kid. So I was just like, yeah. But for a long time, man, I've loved football. That's always stuck with me. Still, I like baseball. I like basketball. I like sports, golf, everything. So
the whole kit and caboodle. So
So that's how my love for sports came about. I think that was the question.
Yes. So when did all of a sudden you hear about this fantasy sports stuff?
That was, oh gosh, a long time ago. The USA Today would have these contests for baseball. And you just I think you'd have to mail in your lineup or something. So I did that. And then I got a job at MTV, and they had some fantasy baseball leagues and fantasy basketball leagues. And I loved fantasy basketball. Oh my gosh, I loved the Lakers. I was there. And then one time, one of the guys said, hey, I have an opening in my football league. Are you interested? And I'm like, oh, well, I don't watch football as much as I do basketball. And he's all, no. Once you play fantasy football, you will never, ever go back because it's the best. He was right. However many decades later, dude was right.
Who was this person, if you want to?
That was Zach Sklar, and I still play in that fantasy league.
Oh, wow.
It was called originally the Jizz Master League. So I came in there as a chick. I had no problem with that. And it's since changed in honor of his mom, who was like a 3-time champion of the league, to Mama's League. Rest in peace, Mama. Still love you.
I wonder how long that league's lasted. That's a long time.
It's 30 years at least, 25 years. A long time.
Yes. So I want to talk about, when did you first think about getting in the business of, however you want to, I'm trying to get the sequence. I'm not really sure, but.
Yeah. I went to Cal State Long Beach in the theater arts department, and that's where I met a very good friend, Garrett Matheny. He was doing a podcast with a gentleman named Bobby Brimmer. It was called Fantasy Freakin Football. I completely invited myself on the show and made myself part of the show. So that's kind of how I got started in the media of fantasy football, shall you say. So, and then through Garrett, he led me to high stakes too.
Wow. So do you remember your first high stakes contest that you played in?
Yeah, it was yours.
I think it was.
Yeah, I'm going to get the year wrong. It's, I want to say 2006, but I think it might've been earlier. Whatever year LaDainian Tomlinson was not the overall pick and it was Priest Holmes, I was the person, I got a number 1 hole, and I was one of like 3 leagues out of, I think, 60 something that took LT number 1. Everybody else at number 1 was taking Priest Holmes. So I will also say I won. I won my first high stakes league. And Oh my God, Emil, the WCOFF was like so cool. I think you know how cool it is, but nobody else, if you didn't play back then, you don't know how cool it was to just be like at a Las Vegas hotel and you're just sitting in the hallway waiting for you guys to open the door. And then you like open the door and just like piles of like-minded people are like filing in, trying to find what, league they're at. There's these giant draft boards and everything. The energy was so cool. And man, it was just the best experience. And I thank you for that. You got me hooked on that by running a great event. So
Well,
you and Lenny, right on.
Well, yeah, well, it was really the people that made it. We just thought of the idea and the people came. But it was cool.
You built it.
Well, to reiterate, back then there was really no trust in the internet, so everything was live. And of course, the beautiful about it, and there was only one time we drafted. Now we draft many times. So everything happened that Saturday morning at 10 or 11, and to walk in that room and literally when it got bigger, you'd have to say, "Where's my table?"
Yeah, no, you couldn't find your table.
60,000 square foot bar, and there's 1, 2,
Yeah.
3. Where the heck's 43?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes I was in a panic. I'm like, am I going to find it? Am I going to find my table? Don't start without me.
It was special, and it was great that you were part of it, and those are great times to remember. You just never ever. It's very seldom do you have a chance to be part of something.
Yeah,
and it was
and
real
I
great.
think I
The people we
misspoke.
met were good.
It was like the WCOF, right? We don't want to put
OFF,
that
WCOFF,
FF. Okay,
World Championship of Fantasy Football. We don't want to dwell on that,
I just want to make sure I had it right.
Yeah. So that was. Do you remember what the hotel was that first year?
Wow, I do not.
Okay.
I remember the next year, I feel it was the one off the strip, which I had a good time at. But I do not remember.
Yeah, you got in pretty early then.
Yeah, I got in early. It wasn't the
Cool.
Rio either. So
okay.
I can't remember.
Palms maybe? Anyway, doesn't
Might have been the Palms. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I asked too many questions.
I'm old.
Well, by the way,
Who
you
knows?
mentioned a freaking fantasy football podcast, and then you
Yeah.
guys added a website to that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we did a website. We were known for the Fantasy Freakin Football podcast. Like at the time, it was like one of the most popular ones. It competed with like the Yahoos and the CBS and the ESPN. Garrett Matheny is a Fantasy Sports Writers Association award winner. He won Best Comedy Article one year. So we had a very nice reputation. Garrett and I had a great back and forth. Bobby Brimmer didn't stick with the show, so it just became me and Garrett. And yeah, we did the website. But with the website, we were able to do a draft guide, and that was kind of our big like bread and butter for our listeners, because give our rankings, give our sleepers, give our like deep sleepers, which we called comas. We give our bust of the year, breakout players of the year, and it was just, man, that was some good times. And running a website and doing the draft guys actually made me a better player.
Oh, that's good. And take a look at your screen here.
Oh my God, that's so like, I cannot believe you have that. Holy moly.
Yeah, that actually was 2012. You guys went way back before, like 06 or so.
We went way back, but wow, that brings back memory. I don't even have that screenshot. That's great.
Well,
look at James' body count was, I have a body count story. Yeah, James Jewell.
Tell us the story. It's a beauty.
All right. So my very first WCOFF event, I went in there. I didn't really kind of, I didn't know anybody but Garrett, and it's interesting. I remember like after a podcast of Fantasy Freakin Football, I asked Garrett, I go, I'm really thinking about signing up for, the WCOFF. Do you think I have what it takes to win a league? And he's all, yes. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you and I just see things differently. And to this day, I completely agree with that assessment. We both see things differently. I think league winners out there just see things differently. But back to the story with body count. I look at who's on the, I look at my league mates. I wanted to do just a little bit of research, so when I said, okay, I'm going to drop the $1,000+ and go out there. I wanted to see who I was drafting against. And there was a couple people that were ranked. And then there was James Body Count Jewell, who I think he came in second overall the year before. Like, he's there posing with Susie Colbert and everything, and he's drafting right next to me. I'm 1, he's 2. And I remember he leaned over. He's very nice. He's a gentleman, despite the body count name. He's such a nice guy. And back then, a lot of guys were just like, would look right through me because I was a chick. But he turns to me and he's all, are you going to tell me who you're going to take at number 1? I go, well, all I'm going to say is I'm going to make you a holy man, referring that Priest Holmes was going to drop to him and that I was going to take LT. And we'll say the rest is history. But I still remember, like, I picked up like the rookie Michael Clayton. The guys just, they stand out in your mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, Michael Clayton in the 14th round totally helped me to a league championship. So
incredible.
It was great. I loved it.
Those are great memories. I'm going to go back to your site because I thought one of the things you did that was real cool was the Milk Carton Award. Tell us about that.
Oh man, these are for guys that just did not show up at the game. They were lost. You had to like put their face on a milk carton to find them. Hope you would find them by next week. Oh my goodness. I love the Milk Carton Award. Maybe I'll bring that back for this year or something just on my own. I could still do it. A little photoshopping.
I love the creativity that you put into, all the stuff that you did back then. And the Milk Carton is a good example of that.
Thank you. We wanted to be like informative and, I forget the word now. But we just wanted to have fun. Yeah, entertaining and informative. That was, let's do it.
Yeah, that's been our philosophy for years. Is, if you've got to entertain them also. So let me. There's so many more things, and you can bring us some other things. But I did want to talk about that you got into the film business.
Yeah.
Tell us how that all happened and who you're working for.
So I worked at a little store in Manhattan Beach, California called Video Archives. Some dude named Quentin Tarantino worked there with me. We struck up a friendship. We were always going to movies. Sometimes we'd see 3 movies a day. He kind of quit the movie store and, moved up to Hollywood so he could really concentrate on his writing. And my man hit. And we are friends to this day, and I am still employed by him. So it's going on 3 decades. So
I love him. I did not know that. I thought,
he's my brother. I feel like he's my brother.
That is a really good feeling. I didn't know he hadn't hit it yet before you met him. That's an incredible story.
Yeah, no, we were both like, working at a video store, not a lot of change in our pocket, but enough to go to the movies and, put gas in the car to get up to Westwood and stuff. So
where was this store at? What town was that in?
That was in the South Bay section of Los Angeles, just south of LAX, called Manhattan Beach.
Oh, okay.
Little, sleepy beach town.
I've been there, actually. I got a shirt from there.
Oh, I love it. There you go. Touristy.
Yeah. And you know what I remember, now that you bring that up, is I remember sitting at my desk over there, and it was the beginning of the WCOFF was going along, and it was, all exciting and interesting. And I remember I get this phone call, and this person called me, and she says, there may be a way of making a movie about fantasy football. And you started saying things that I've never heard anybody talk about before that I've met. And I glanced over at I'm like, who is this person? And I glanced over at the caller ID, and it was Tarantino /Q, and then it truncated. And I'm like, Quentin Tarantino?
People would freak out because my office was, just one of his guest house. So the phone bill was under his name. So I'd be calling people and they're like,
Yeah, you had some good ideas.
We never made that movie, but other people did. So,
Yeah, there was a lot of ideas just to get off the beaten path. But one of them was, kind of like World Series of Poker, where you go around, you can see the hands of people.
Yeah.
And I think that made the World Series of Poker jump into popularity because people could see their hands. And then they could be thinking, oh my gosh, this guy's got queens. Don't pick, fold.
Yeah,
if you don't see him, you're just sitting there looking at a bunch of people doing this.
Exactly.
And one of the ideas that a lot of people had back then was, do it, video a draft. And then what you do is you have these people kind of come off the table and you go back and then they're discussing what they're going to do in the next round and what they're theorizing. And then you're filming that, the other people can't hear it. And so you have that same ability to go, yeah, I know that guy wants Fred Smith. He's going to get him 2 rounds from now. And then they're filming a guy over here saying, well, we're going to take Fred Smith next. And they're going to screw the guy and he's going to get mad. And that makes entertainment fun, part of the entertainment. But I don't know if anybody ever did that. They just never.
I don't think they ever did that. But I mean, like the TV series, The League, obviously was pretty popular. And, I think they almost got a reality show off, where you'd follow like an auction every week throughout the season.
Wow.
That almost. I can't remember their name. I remember I went in to kind of audition, and I blew it because I was too nice. Like, you want controversy in TV. That just think about like on Survivor. What's exciting? Like when the survivors are pitted against each other and the different personality clashes and stuff like that.
Sounds like that would have worked.
Yeah, I think that would have worked, but I think they were tied to a video game for sponsorship, and the video game might have went belly up. It was something off. So, but I wasn't going to be on it. So little did they know that I am kind of controversial, and I'm not loved by everyone. I'll tell you that much, but
really?
I'm loved by the people that count. Yeah. We all have our little, rivalries and stuff,
Oh,
so.
really? I don't know. Yeah, I ignore a lot of that, which is probably a foolish thing to do. Now,
that's smart.
I say I do. Maybe I don't. I got stories. So you were affiliated with
I bet you do.
Planet Terror, Kill Bill Volume 1, and Death Proof. It has your name and credits.
Oh, yeah. Well, Planet Terror was part of, Grindhouse, as was Death Proof. I've worked on all of his films, starting with Kill Bill.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. I was an extra in Reservoir Dogs, an extra in Four Rooms.
Did you actually get on the TV?
You can't really see me in Reservoir Dogs, but you see me crystal clear in Four Rooms. I got to
Four Rooms. Let me write that down.
Video.
We'll go look for that.
Yeah, playing video games with Marissa Tomei.
You got to be kidding me.
That was great.
So was just another one I'm not supposed to talk about. I said my wife and I occasionally do extra work here in Albuquerque. We've done Better Call Saul a couple times. We did.
No way. See, that's cool.
Oh, it was too much fun. It's
yeah.
It was just fun. Well, all about it. But I never was really involved in watching these people film. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a 12-hour day. There's 50 people. There's cameras. There's people running around. They're doing shots this way, and then they do shots this way, and then they do shots this way, and they do them 50 times. We had a little thing where we were just walking behind Ray Seaborn. Kim. And
I haven't watched the show.
Oh, okay. Sorry. And she was.
But I know it's a class show. It's cool.
It's fun, and their writing is fantastic. So we're just walking behind them with briefcases, and we're doing this thing. We did it 30 times this way, and then we did it 30 times this way, and I'm like, how do these actors do their lines so perfectly after 50 times? I would just be going like, okay, yeah. I'd be getting hoarse, and they just do it.
They're professionals. That's their job. Yeah. That's their job.
Yeah, it's really been fun. We were in Messiah. You ever heard of Messiah? It's a new Netflix. It was like
I feel like I might have, but
anyway,
no.
That was fun because we actually, at the end of the show, it was after 11 hours. Everybody went in. We were like guests in the jury room, so we're in the jury, not the jury, but just guests.
But you're a courtroom.
In the courtroom, yeah. So we just got stuck. We just sat down, and some guy was walking around. He's moving people around, and he moved us like this. He switched us, and then the person in front of us, right at the end, he took that person and he put him way over somewhere. I'm like, oh, there's a blank in front of us. Then all of a sudden, one of the main actors goes and they put him right in front of us.
Yeah, you're going to get screen time.
Oh, my God. And we actually have to have a response. We're going to do this 20 times. And, I mean, my wife and I are like, here, we're in this thing. We're like, we're in this movie. or TV series. And we had to do, it was just stupid. We had to go, and then, yay, and I had to do that 20 times. But you're all, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm supposed to just be sitting there or pretend talking. but really the fun was just seeing all what happens in a movie and what has to go. And we were there for a day, and it was like a 5-minute part of a TV series.
Yeah, people don't understand that 12, 14-hour days, and you shoot maybe like 2 pages.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I mean, once we do it, we're kind of old. It's like, okay, we won't do that for a few months because it was tiring, and you know what we do. We work all the time, so you have to pick. You got to get lucky on the day and be able to take the whole day off. So.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. I guess we got one more Better Call Saul. Hopefully we can get into that one. But
nice.
And we did one. Well, anyway, we don't care what I did. But anyway, extra is a lot of fun. I'm going to look for 4-star, 4-room extra. Okay, I'm writing this down so we can watch you. And what's funny about it is...
And you get free food.
And some of it's really good. It was surprising.
Oh, I know.
Exactly. And you have to go through and get wardrobe, And it's funny. The last time I went, it was a night sheen or whatever. It doesn't matter. And I dressed a certain way, and then they just went, "Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're passed. Sign this thing and whatnot." But just really entertaining on how it works, and it's. I'm glad we have a lot of films in Albuquerque, so we can occasionally do it when we feel like doing it, because it's you don't really most of the time you're sitting around, but you have to be ready to go and all that stuff. But now I forgot there was something. So anyway, fantastic. I apologize for interrupting. I can't wait to see you as an extra also in all the work.
We're just talking, no interruption.
Yeah. Was Quentin Tarantino, has he been fun to work with, or is there any funny things about him or quirky things that you can talk about?
Oh, he is really fun. You talk about shooting on a set and everything. He uses a lot of the same crew, so they've become family. And you hear afterwards, everybody's like really sad because they're like, oh man, now I got to go to another set, and it doesn't have that family atmosphere and just like fun. He just makes it fun. And
does he really?
One of the mottos is because we love making movies. So you have all these passionate people with the same goal and trying to facilitate Quentin's dream, and sometimes it's not like sometimes it's just not work. So which is nice. That
is fantastic. I've noticed some of the actors on Better Call Saul, I mean, they're there for 5-6 months a year. I mean, Albuquerque becomes their second home, and you can kind of tell how they are connected. We went to a book review that they were doing year before last, and there's 3 of them, and they all were talking about the books, and you could just tell the connection between the 3 of them. It was kind of neat to see. So
chemistry.
Yeah, chemistry. You got to have good chemistry. So tell me about, you're on a lot of radio shows, ESPN Radio, et cetera. Tell me about
I
that.
do like little, throughout my career, I've done like little like spots and stuff. Like, when I was in the running for like, you win the online championship in the main event. I was very close to doing that one year. And,
wow.
I know TV comes calling, local TV wanted to do something. ESPN Radio wanted to talk to me. But inevitably, like somebody gets hurt and I tank. So, I've just kind of nickeled and dimed my way to $250,000. No ginormous cashes. So,
well, another good thing that what we did in the FFWC is we kind of balanced the league. We put more money into the league championships and the placing in the league. Because
I like that.
The reality with the significant, one person wins out of 400. Of the whole league, so a whole championship. But within each 12-team league, you really, why not make that a little more important? Because the majority of people are going to be worrying about when it's first, second, third, and fourth. When they go back to their spouse, they don't want to say, they want to say, hey, I broke even or I made a little money, as opposed to worrying just about winning and it just makes it more fun and makes it more palatable to your economy if you have a better chance to win something as opposed to.
Oh yeah, and you got to win something. When you're playing high stakes, it's all about your return on investment, so you got to win something.
Yeah, Kimmer and I played 2015 in the NFFC and finished 3rd, and we made a little money on that. But I mean, we could have finished 10th just as well as 3rd. I mean, but there were a couple change in starting lineups that we could have won. then again, probably anybody in that area did. You hate to second guess yourself, but
Yeah, don't second guess. Just move forward to the next year.
yes.
I love Kimra, man.
Yeah, she's
Oh
really
my
special.
goodness,
I'm
is she
trying
good?
to I'm trying
Have
to
you
interview her.
interviewed her?
Well, I've been trying
Oh,
for 2 months, as you.
okay. Well,
And
she's
she's like,
busy.
well, this and that, and I think she's scared. I'm not really sure. I can't wait to interview her. Well, it's funny.
There's no fear in that woman, let me
No,
tell you.
no.
But
But
she got 3 kids,
yeah,
a job.
yeah, she's
And fantasy
fantastic.
football.
She's worked. Yeah, she's really done a great. We've had a great time together over the years. And Cindy, her I don't know if it's husband or wife,
Her
but
partner,
partner.
her wife, yeah.
Yeah, and we've had such a great time. Her parents are kind of very interesting too, and she's done really well. I remember one year, I'm reminded it is, and I was actually playing. This was after we sold the WCOFF, and I was playing with Body Count, James Jewell,
James Jewell.
and who was that guy for Tennessee that was a fantastic running back then?
Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson. And I guess somebody was giving her crap. Well, what really drives me nuts is these people are so some people are so cocky, they want just their mouth just yappy. And she comes over to my table and she kind of leans over and says, I just got Chris Johnson in like the 6th pick of the 2nd round and people are giving me crap. And I'm like, it's a fantastic pick. But anybody can feel a little bit. I mean, I just wish people wouldn't be that way. And it's a competition, but come on. And then of course he had a great year. I mean, he ended up really helping her team. And I remember
Chris Johnson made me a lot of money. Thank you, Chris Johnson. Yeah.
There was a guy who came to it was the year that Randy Moss went from Oakland to New England. And he was in a local league before he went to Vegas to play in the WC or the FFW, no, whatever it was, WCOFF, I guess. And he was in a local league. In the 4th round, he took Randy Moss. And all the people in the room started telling him how stupid pick it was, and that's the dumbest thing you've ever, brrr. So here's a lesson that you probably know quite well, and is very important for fantasy players, but at any level. So he went to Vegas. He played in the WCOFF, and in the 4th round, Randy Moss is available. He didn't take him. He took a Sanders from Washington. I forget his first name.
No.
And you know why he didn't take him? Because he remembered everybody making fun of him.
Peer pressure.
Yeah. And you think you can handle that. You got to just let that go. And as you pointed out at the beginning.
You got to filter out the noise. It takes a lot of self-confidence, too. Like, you got to, like, you have to, like, just be like, I'm going to do my own thing. You got to believe in yourself. You just got to, like, really settle yourself at the draft table and be able to, like, listen. Like, everybody at that draft table knows the answer, but not everybody knows how to listen to themselves and have the confidence to make that pick. Makes me sick he didn't take Randy Moss.
Yeah, I think about it all the time because my vague recollection is he missed the playoffs by like 3 points, and he had a dynamite roster. And you just think about adding Randy Moss to it, he probably could have won the league. And
he would have competed for the league and the overall for sure.
Yes, yeah, I meant the overall is what I meant to say because I'm old and I don't make sense. But it just drove home the point that groupthink. Don't worry about what people say to you. It's easy to say that. You got to practice that. You got to like you said, you got to decide on who your sleepers are, decide on who your breakout players are, decide on who your bust players are, plan out your draft, and execute it without whatever anybody else says. You got to be able to do that. And you want, in my opinion, you want people to think you're stupid when you're drafting because that you said before, you're drafting players. You're not drafting the groupthink ADP players. You've come up with some sleepers that are going to surprise people, and it should surprise them, and you should be happy about that, as opposed to changing your mind as soon as the draft starts.
Absolutely. When I sit down, I look around the table. I know a lot of these guys and gals now, but the ones I don't, I'm just saying, please underestimate me. Please underestimate me.
That's
an advantage.
Do they even think of the people around them, or I'm focusing on my draft, but obviously
I'm focused on the draft, but I'm focused around
what
the people around me.
Yeah. Well, and also,
Yeah, I want to know.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I want to know, like, if I know them, if I've done online drafts with them, I like to know their tendencies. I like to be aware of, have they drafted a quarterback, and no, they haven't. It's the 10th round. Well, I'm going to take my 10th quarterback. So that's one less good one off the board for you. And,
yeah,
I'm a fan of the old cock block, if I can say that on.
Can you? I assume you can.
Yeah, well, I just did.
So you actually will, in a draft, let's say you thought you were going to only take one quarterback, or you got a deep sleeper quarterback for your number 2, and it's round 12, and you're seeing this quarterback there, you'll take him to cock block.
I probably will. I mean, it depends on what the rest of the league has done, but yeah. I mean, just to be, a cock blocker. I like that. They look better on my team than they do on yours, so.
Another funny one is, well, not funny, it's an interesting one, is I was playing in a league with Chad Schroeder. This is, high stakes years ago.
Too. Another good one.
You always play with Chad Schroeder when you're in a high stakes fantasy league.
Well, that's true.
Because he plays in almost all of them. But, I'm watching this draft, and I'm watching him pick players, and it's like round 10 or 11. I'm looking at his roster, and I'm like, God, that's a boring, ugly roster. What is this guy doing? And, of course, after 4 weeks in the season, he was 5-0 in the league or 4-0 in the league, and he was beating me.
Killing it.
I'm looking at his roster and going, God, yeah, that guy's playing well. And because I have a tendency to draft sexy, if you know what that is.
I do know what that is.
Yeah,
of course. We all want to draft sexy, but there's sometimes you just got to plug your nose and take the guy that's going to get you points.
Yeah, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that guy because obviously he knows what he's doing. And, that's the emotion of it. You got to cool your emotion when you get excited. And, you start drafting rookie running backs because you're kind of at that point where, they haven't messed up for you. They're not pulled out yet on third down because they can't block. They haven't fumbled yet. They've got this perfect motion. Oh, man, this guy's going to he's on Kansas City. Woo! And then the reality sets in.
I love that guy on Kansas City. I'll tell you that much.
You think so? You think he's going to take right over from Williams? Damian Williams?
I don't think he'll take right over, but by the end of the year, he'll be there. And I think he'll be a top 12 running back for sure.
Wow, really? Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Those are the tough calls, especially with rookies, but he's in a great spot.
Yeah. What's interesting, though, is I took Chris Johnson in his rookie year, and he was in the 6th round. Now you want to take somebody like a Jonathan Taylor, and it's the 2nd round. The cat's out of the bag on the rookies. So it's not making hay there anymore.
Well, also you've got things change over years. If rookie running backs did well this previous year, and this is a great crop of rookies, and the position they're going into on a team is a quality team, good line, likes to run, is hurting a running back, that may affect, that's going to affect where that guy goes.
Yeah.
You're stuck with that. So let's see, what else do I have on my list?
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
I don't know why this guy popped into my brain.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Wizard?
Yeah. I forget his name off.
Do you keep in touch with him? I don't even know his real name.
I'll find it for you. It's right on the tip of my tongue. Really nice guy, shoe salesman from Florida, if he still does that.
No, he's a shoe salesman. He was the Wizard. For those that don't know, in high stakes, he was my first year in high stakes. He was there in his blue wizard robe with the wizard cap. And I was like, oh my God, that's the Wizard, because he was featured in some HBO documentary on fantasy football. I'm like, It's the Wizard. It's the Wizard. And then I never saw him for 5 more years. And then I saw him again. And I actually went up to him like, oh my God, you're the Wizard. And he's all like, well, you're Jules McLean. And I'm like, no, but you're the Wizard. And then he gave me he gets I got something for you. And I held out my hand, and he put a magic rock in my hand. I thought that was so cool.
He likes to do that.
I like rocks. Yeah. I'm like, magic rock. It was great.
And I'm unfortunately, I can't remember his name, and it's killing me here.
Oh, it's killing me too, but he's the Wizard. That's all right. He knows his name. It's okay.
Just a sec. Sorry. I can't, I got a gaming keyboard that my grandson uses, and I can't type on it.
Oh, Grandpa, hello.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here, wizard. How do you spell wizard? I can't spell wizard. Because he's got keys on here. He's put these pads all over, and you can't find it. All right. I can't find him on this list, so I'll find him later and email you. Nice guy.
Right.
He gave me a rock the last time I saw him at the
Got a rock.
FFPC about 2 or 3 years ago. And he had a shirt with a number on it, and it was like 513 or something. And I said, why do you have a shirt with 513? He says, because I came to the original WCOFF. There was like 548 people or 552. He finished 513th.
Oh, and he came back for more.
And he said, that humbled me. So he made a shirt and came the next year and the next year. He, you know, 10 years later, he's still wearing the same shirt because of, it was just such a great, God, the whole thing was just this family. I remember I was interviewed on TV and they said, what's so special about it? I said, well, it started out as a contest and then then it became a bunch of friends that would come play and then it became a family.
Yeah.
It really was a family. Now, and that's the sad part about letting it go is I've lost that family. But, you can't have everything for forever. And it was really a special time. It was really a special time. And we sweat blood over it. And it was really a lot of fun. But, yeah, I'll get that name for you. I can't remember the name, and it really bugs me. But there were a lot of fun people like that. It was really filled with. You probably don't remember Nurse Ratched, do you?
I do not. Only
Nancy,
from the.
She was a little before you. She was in that HBO special. I don't know if you know that HBO special. That they came to film the WCOFF in the Rio.
Oh wow!
They actually filmed the WCOFF.
So you guys, I definitely was at the Rio. So, but that's so cool.
Yeah, that was pretty.
I wasn't at the Rio.
You weren't at that one. You were probably the next year or whatnot or so.
Yeah.
I could have looked it up, but I didn't look that up. Before we got on I hadn't researched that far. I apologize. I could have put up your old record too. I've got all the data because I started doing the.
Yeah, I took a little bit of a dive, but
you were up there really high. You did quite well.
I was, yeah.
And I think it's really, people would say, "Oh, fantasy's luck and all this stuff," and I said, "Well, go look at the top 100 people because I did rankings back then." And, you see these people, they may have a bad year, but the same people are winning every year. It's not just random luck. You got 600, 700 people, 800 people in a league, and these people seem to always be doing well. So it's not luck. And the joke about it, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say our motto, our little tagline at Fantasy Freakin Football is make your own luck, which means sit down at the draft table, take Wes Welker in the 8th round. Don't wait for him in the 12th round when you got traded to New England. He's going to be good. So you make your own luck. You believe in your picks and take your guys.
And remember this is something I talk about occasionally is if we all knew what every player is going to get, and what the score of the game was, and every yard they ran and touchdown, you knew their fantasy points, we wouldn't do it. It would be boring.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you had a contest on when the sun comes up, we all know when the sun comes up within a second.
Yeah.
You have to have some variability for something to be enjoyable. Basketball, football, baseball, fantasy basketball, fantasy football, they have an element of luck. A guy runs to the 1 yard line and gets knocked out, and then the next guy fumbles the ball and the team loses. You're going, well, that was luck. Well, that's part of the game. And because it's part of the game, it makes it fun because you have some variability that you can take advantage of in your analysis, and you don't really know what's going to happen, and that's why we're having so much fun with it, and we have fun with a lot of other sports in general, in my opinion. So I hate it when people say luck. It really annoys me when people say luck because it's just ingrained in sports and in life. It's a variable that's out there. Anyway, I babble. Did I miss anything? Would you like to bring something up that you may have thought of?
Oh, the minute I turn this computer off, I'll totally think of something, of course. No, I just want to point out, too, I mean, you talked about it, and I just want to reiterate the family aspect. I just, I know you're nothing going to be like the WCOFF. Even when I go to any other contest, it's not that magic moment that I had my first time, but I've made lifelong friends. I'm friends still to this day with James Jewell. I'm still friends with my Garrett Matheny. Kimra is one of my, I consider a very close friend. So, I've been to her house in Indiana. So, it's beyond fantasy sports to me. It's just really, it's beyond a hobby. It's beyond the gambling aspect. It's enriched my life in a way I didn't think it could. I know it sounds hokey, but I don't really care. So, I've made some great friends, and that's one of the most important things you can have in life.
That's an excellent point. I completely agree. And James Jewell calls me all the time, too. He's a good guy. He comes through sometimes with his wife because he drives from Dallas to go to the...
He goes to Vegas.
He goes to Vegas to play in the World Series of Poker. And so they'll stop by and we'll go out to dinner, and they may stay the night or whatnot. But
oh, that's nice.
Yeah, he's a... I remember he finished in the 6th in the World Series of Poker, the old people, I forget what they call it, senior citizens.
Yeah, whatever, the senior tour or something. He made a lot of jacks, 6 figures. Like,
yeah, he made over 100,000. And what's funny is we found it on the internet live. And my oldest son and his wife and my wife and I were sitting at the table, and we had it on my portable computer and my laptop, and we had it open, and we were watching him play the final table. And we were playing poker. We decided to play poker, and we're sitting watching our friend play. And what was funny is Walter Brown was at the table, and it was like in first place at the time. I don't know where he ended up. And Walter Brown is a grandmaster of chess. And I played Walter Brown in a speed tournament in 2007 or 2008. I'm just sitting here. He's playing against Walter Brown in the World Series of Poker in the final table of the seniors event, and I played that guy in a chess tournament.
Small world.
It's a small world. But he finished 6th. They called him the Jammer after that because he would push in a lot. I don't know if
Yeah,
he's had a great time.
He's going to intimidate people for sure.
Yeah, I hope he does well, and it's such a tough business to it's tough to put money into poker, in my opinion. I'm not very good at it, but
I'm not very good at it. I wish I were, because I'm competitive and I do like gambling, but I'm not good at poker.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on being a pioneer of fantasy sports, and
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Walking in your footsteps. Thank you for doing it. That's it.
Well, you've done some great things and some credible things, and a great story. I hope I haven't left anything out. I probably have, but we can always do a part 2 one of these days. But fantastic. Anything else you want to bring up?
No, just everybody be safe out there. Have a great fantasy football season, and make your own luck.
Make your own luck. What's the draft you're in tonight?
I'm doing an NFFC 25 best ball. I love the best ball format because I do so many drafts, and you just draft them and the computer does the work.
You said 125 what?
25. So it's $25 entry.
$25. Okay.
Yeah.
Best
so
ball.
I'll probably do one of those a night during lockdown.
So you're really getting getting in the groove of understanding the players and where they're going and
yeah, I don't even need cheat sheets at this point.
Wow.
So
now, do you know who created fantasy best ball?
I do not. I know the NFFC, it was called Draft Champions when I first did it 13 years ago, but I do not know who created that format. I love the format, though.
1998. It was part of FanX football. And the guy's name who created it was Emil Kadlec.
You did it!
No shit.
No! You did best ball. And it's called best ball now. It's taken off because they changed the name to best ball. What were you calling it? Well, back then
we called it, what happened, I'll tell you the story. We were in FanX, and this is 1997, 1998, and we would do the slow draft on my fantasy league, And because they wanted to be the fantasy experts, and so we did slow draft. It'd take 10 days or so, a week, 2 weeks, and you'd put little notes and everything. And that year they said, let's do 2 of them, because we're only given content for 2 weeks. So some of them said, oh my, this is an email exchange. So someone said, oh, that's too many leagues to be in. Do you imagine that?
No.
And so one of them said, oh, let's do a mock. And then Stephen said, well, the mock's not real. They're not going to really draft. You're not going to draft real.
Yeah, scoop.
So, all right. So I emailed back to everybody. I said, well, let's do this. Let's have Terry Cannon pick our best lineup Tuesday morning. He's commissioner. And let's draft normally, but we won't have any free agent pickups. And they said, oh, yeah, let's try that. So we called it the Fantasy Analysis Draft, which I wish I had to patent the damn thing. I don't know if I could. That's too deep. But it's interesting that's how it started with FanX. And there was something else.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh, there was something else I was going to mention that you just thought of, and I forgot what it was. I should have taken
Sorry,
down
I cut
the
you
note.
off. Thank you, though,
no,
for
you didn't.
creating the best ball. I love it.
It's insane now, isn't it?
It is
I mean,
totally the MFL 10s, and
Yeah.
you can just do leagues,
And Jeff Stein, you know who Jeff Stein is?
Is it Jeffrey Stein?
Yeah, Jeffrey
Is it
Stein.
Jeff?
Yeah, Jeffrey
Jeffrey.
Stein.
I know him as Jeffrey, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, I call him Jeff. Whatever.
Oh,
And,
look, you guys are close. Okay.
Woo! Yeah, so anyway, he works for my fantasy league for several years. And he told me that he was the one who created MFL 10s.
Wow. Super cool. And look at it now.
That's pretty cool. And they
He
eventually
created
sold
it and they got sold. Yeah.
Yeah, they sold the darn thing. But
Yeah.
that was a hell of an idea that he came up with, because it's just huge. It's just so huge. I can't believe how big best ball is. But anyway, you got to get prepped for your thing, and we only got 13 minutes left before, or maybe even closer. No, we got 10 minutes. But anyway, thank you so much. A great story. I'm glad I know you. Glad I got to know you, and really congratulations on being a pioneer of fantasy sports and doing so many things. And of course, you just got started. So
you're a sweetheart. Thank you so much. Will I see you in Vegas?
Don't know yet. Don't know whether we're going to be in Vegas or not. We will see. All right. Thank you.
Take care.